By definition, stress means the adaptation of our bodies to any change, change for the better or change for the worse. But the most important thing to remember about stress is that stress is just a neutral. Stress doesn't mean to help some people and to hurt others. Stress is a neutral until it lands on you. And what you are choosing to do in response to that stress will determine the outcome. Let's take, for example, the stress of public performance. Now, public performance can mean a great deal of relaxation if you're sitting here in the audience and waiting for the show to start. It can be marvelous. However, what would happen if that same neutral stress was suddenly turned around and they called your name and said that you're about to step onto the stage and you are the show? Uh-oh, I think I hear my name being called right now. Let's have a look. This might be stressful.
There's no question that making a speech can be very intimidating. But that intimidation and that sense of stress, that fear of failure, if you will, doesn't necessarily have to bring out something bad. Bob Hope has figured it out a long time ago. This is what keeps him young. The point, very simply, is he knows he could fail every time he steps out. He could forget his lines. He could be upstaged by a heckler in a college crowd if he doesn't keep up with current events. But that's what keeps him forever young. On the other hand, the stress doesn't automatically do good things to people. Take a look, for example, at Elvis Presley. Now, he has exactly the same stress to contend with in his performances, and he had the same fear of forgetting his lines halfway into a song. But for Elvis, it didn't bring about a long life. In fact, it claimed him in his youth. At least we think it did. There was another sighting in Buffalo again last week. But the point, very simply, is that stress is still neutral. It didn't mean to help one person and to hurt another. It was the choices that these men made that were so different, that determined the different outcomes. Bob Hope chose a stable marriage. He chose good nutrition and diet and lots of exercise and good humor. Elvis Presley, on the other hand, chose obesity and substance abuse. In any line of work, it's not the stress that's going to harm you. It's the choice that you're making in response to that stress. Now, here's a tip that comes from the world of public performances that can help you in any line of work. And that tip is a very simple one. It's a tip of breathing properly. Babies know how to breathe properly, and so do adults when they're asleep under an anesthetic, for example. But it's something that we don't tend to do very well with normal fashion. We're all conscious of sucking in our waists and having belts around the waist to make us look slimmer. But that means that we end up breathing shallow, inefficient breaths through our rib cage. What ends up happening is that we have an inefficient exchange of oxygen for carbon dioxide, and our bodies become more acidic. The muscles become more tense, and what ends up happening is you have a lot of stiffness, sometimes even headaches and muscle pains by the end of each day. A simple way of getting rid of that stress and literally blowing off some steam is to blow all the air out that you have through your mouth, and then some more, and then just pause for a moment. Let's try it. Now, slowly, what you're going to do is pretend you have a belt around your rib cage so you can't expand it. And using just your stomach to propel the air, you're now going to draw in a full breath through your nose. Ah, that's it. Now you've got it. A couple of slow, efficient breaths like that just before you step into an important meeting or stand up to address an important crowd. That can make all the difference in your public performance. It's a simple tip, but one that I think will help you in any line of work.